always thought I was the funniest kid in school until this kid that was an orphan showed up. He was misbehaving in class one day, and the teacher said, Anthony, if you keep misbehaving, I'm gonna call your parents. And Anthony responded with saying, wait, you found my parents? When I heard him say that, I was like, damn, bruh! The one thing I had going for me was that I was funny. And now this kid stole it! Does old people in nursing homes like to listen to music from their generation like this? Does that mean that when our generation is in nursing homes, we're gonna be like this?
Fuck a pigeonhole, I'm a night owl, it's a different mode,
If your mom was being held hostage at a place that's 45 minutes away, would you listen to music on your drive to go save her? Because I would be like, oh, come on, hurry up. Come on. There we go. Alright, come on. If ghosts are real, the scariest part about them is definitely the fact that some of them are probably British. Ooh! Whoa, a ghost, cool. Oi, bravo, you're not scared of me. You're British? Ah! Be honest with me. Can I wear this outfit that I'm about to show you to a wedding? Because I think everyone's either gonna hate it and laugh at me, or everyone's gonna love it. Here's the outfit.
doing the things that I never would know. Treat me like what
do you think, huh? Never mind, my mom said the outfit makes me look like a grain of rice, so I'm not wearing it. I just flew in my nose! A bug just flew in my nose! It just flew out. I'm gonna find it, and I'm gonna destroy it. It amazes me that bugs can go anywhere they want, but they choose to go up my nose and up my butthole. Seriously, if I was a fly, I would go to Hawaii or something. Instead, they choose to hang out with me, while I try to beat them to death with a bat. Found it. No! When I die, I don't want people to say the same thing they always say, like, oh, he had such a bright future, or, oh, he brought the best out of everyone. No, I didn't. I was an instigator, and I thought the moon was made out of cheese. Does that sound right to you? I went to a barber that doesn't speak any English, and this was a big mistake, because when he asked me what haircut I wanted, I told him I just wanted it a little bit shorter all the way around, and he must have not understood a damn word I said, because this is what he gave me. What the? He turned me into coconut head! There was a rumor about this kid I grew up with that he would make out with his sister, but no one knew for sure. So everyone would say jokes about it to his face. And one day, he got so upset at the jokes that he decided to fight back. So when one kid said, hey Johnny, do you make out with your sister? He said, the only reason you don't kiss your sister is because yours is ugly. And everyone went silent. And it was funny because he started to cry, and then the kid who bullied him also was crying. I was arguing with someone on TikTok, and I made a comment that said, you talk like you're 9 years old. And I click on this person's profile to see what they look like, and their bio literally says 8 years old, and all their posts are Roblox clips. I was beefing with an 8-year-old, and I was losing. I was staring at a girl on the bus because she had a piece of gum in her hair, and right as I'm about to open my mouth to tell her, she says, excuse me, I have a boyfriend. So I was like, all right, you're gonna give me attitude, I'm gonna give you attitude back. So I was like, what does your boyfriend think of your hair? And she said, why do you care? As she was running her fingers through her hair. And then she felt the piece of gum and she started crying. And I felt bad at first, but then she accused me of putting the gum there. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna mess with her. And I said, no, I didn't put the gum in your hair. Although I did see a homeless man earlier chewing on gum, and he isn't anymore. And she started screaming. I just ran over my hamster. I'll show it to you in a second, but it died yesterday, and I put it in a box because I was gonna go bury it today. And for some reason, I put the stupid box on top of my car. So when I drove away, I ran over the box. I'm so sorry, Alfred. You didn't deserve this. You just saw the most stupid robbery ever. A lady was walking out of a Dollar Tree, and a thief comes in and steals her purse. How dumb do you have to be to rob someone that shops at Dollar Tree? They are shopping there for a reason. They don't have money. The thief probably has more money than the person they robbed. What are you gonna steal? Her pennies? What would you do if a little kid's mom tried to pepper spray you? Because that's what happened to me today. I was minding my own business, and then a little kid comes up to me and says, your shirt is ugly. And then he does a cartwheel as he walks away. And I could have just let the situation end there, but I have a very fragile ego. So I decided to say, hey buddy, your cartwheel is ugly. And this made the kid start to cry. And he ran to his mom and pointed at me. And then the mom started to walk over to me, and I was like, oh, I know I'm in trouble now. So I pretended to be on a phone call. You know, like when you're too scared to talk to a girl, so you pretend to be on the phone. But the mom did not care. So she went right up to me and she started screaming at me. So I tried to de-escalate the situation, and I said, lady, I'm sorry for what I said to your kid, but he's also a snitch. And then she tried to pepper spray me. And I don't blame her for trying to pepper spray me. It was honestly kind of a boss move. I should probably just stop arguing with little kids. What would you do if you accidentally made everyone in your school throw up? Because that's what I did. So I was at school one day, and the guy sitting right next to me farted. But he blamed it on me, so everyone laughed at me. And I decided right there that I was gonna get revenge on this kid. And luckily, he was throwing a party at his house that night. So I was trying to think of ways that I could get payback on him. And then it hit me. I'm gonna spray fart spray all around his house, so people think that his house smells like farts. So I got to the party and everyone was having a great time. And I snuck around the house and sprayed fart spray everywhere. And if you know anything about fart spray, it smells awful. What I thought would happen after I did this is that everyone would think this kid's house smells like farts, and they would start laughing at him like they did to me. But I think I sprayed so much of the fart spray that it literally made people throw up. Like everywhere. One person even threw up on the guy's dog. I didn't want that to happen. Honestly though, I only did this because I was insecure. So be proud of your farts. I dropped my phone on the ground and it cracked the camera. So for some reason now, every time I record, if something goes across the screen too quickly, then it like glitches out. Here, I'll show you. Well, it didn't work that time, so now I just look like an idiot. I'm gonna do it again. I'll prove it to you that it happens, I swear. Why is it not doing it now? One more time, it's gonna happen. Come on, man. My phone is gaslighting me! I just got banned from this cemetery because I was at a funeral for someone I don't know because I like going to random funerals, but I'm also really bad in awkward situations. And a lady at the funeral was crying, so I said, hey, don't cry. Just picture everyone here naked and you'll start to smile. And to be fair, she did stop crying, but only because she was yelling at me now. After she started yelling, more people came over to us and everyone started to realize that I didn't know anyone there. So I got kicked out of the funeral and the security guard said that I'm banned from ever going to that cemetery again. I told him, you can't ban me. My great grandma lives in this cemetery. But then he said, you're gonna be right next to your great grandma for eternity if you ever come back. I switched up so fast. I was like, yes sir, I'll never come back. So now I can never visit my great grandma again. That kind of sucks, but it's my fault. By the way, rest in peace, Martin. Sorry if I ruined your funeral. So coyotes are allowed here, but I can't ever come back? Come on, man. I saw a TikTok video where someone was able to run 10 miles because they just imagined someone that's trying to pinch their nipples is chasing them. So I'm gonna try it. Mile 1 done. I feel so fast. This is easy. I could run forever. Mile 2 done. This is the worst thing ever. I don't know why people do this for fun. Mile 3 done. Tell my family I love them. I don't think I'm gonna make it home. I'm still on mile 4. I'm pretty sure I am paralyzed from the waist down. I've accepted the fact that this is the spot where I will pass away. People say massage parlors are scary. They are not kidding. I just went there for the first time and this tiny Asian lady was there working and I had no expectations going into this, but now I know to never go back. First of all, she forced me to take all of my clothes off. Like all of them. At first I took off everything except my underwear. Then she aggressively told me to take those off too. She literally said, take off underwear! So I don't know if that part is normal or if I'm like a victim now or something. But anyways, the lady that worked there was like the smallest person ever. Like I think if a chihuahua saw her in public, it would eat her. But I think she was possessed because there is no other explanation for how she was so strong. When she massaged my back, I thought she turned into the Hulk. It felt like she was doing a WWE takedown like this. My back! I think I broke my back! I started screaming because it hurt so bad. And then because I screamed, she slapped me and said, stop screaming! It's a good thing the place was so dark because if she saw how much I was crying, I think she would have chopped one of my toes off or something. When I was 10 years old, I went to the barber for the first time and tried to stab my barber with scissors because he asked what haircut I wanted and my friend had a really cool afro, so I told him I wanted an afro too. He laughed at me and I had no idea why, but I had really bad anger issues when I was a little kid. So I got his scissors from off his desk and tried to stab him. All of a sudden, he stopped laughing and told me that I was never allowed to go back in his barber shop again. So I want to go back today and see if he recognized me and kicks me out. Or if he'll let me get a haircut. I want a man that's Delulu. Oh, I'm so Delulu. What does that mean? I can't keep up with all these new TikTok phrases. I finally just learned last week what glazing means, and now I gotta figure this out. Who comes up with these? I was watching a bunch of motivational videos last night, and they hyped me up so much that I set my alarm for 5 a.m. this morning because I was gonna go on a run. Well, now it's 5 a.m. and I have no idea what I was thinking last night. I'm going back to bed. When I was younger, me and my classmates got our first day of school ruined because these older guys did a drive-by on us. And what I mean by that is 2 guys drove around in their car with megaphones and yelled, Santa's not real! Santa's not real! You would have thought that the school just got bombed because everyone was crying. The worst part? These guys were lying. Santa is real. He is. He is 100% real. They were lying. They were lying, okay? I made a video where I was dancing, and the top comment said, this is why we need to bring back bullying. But the worst part is it had 45,000 likes. Do you know how many people that is? This is what it looks like. Imagine this many people saying that you deserve to get bullied. The worst part is, you guys are right. I probably deserve to get bullied for my dancing. But I don't see you on Dancing with the Stars, huh? Let's see your dance move! Get ready with me to go to a funeral. So my grandma passed away last week, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm really sad. But she left us her house in her will. And I'm sure some of you will probably say, okay, cool, she gave you her house, but you should still be more sad than you are right now. And to that, I say, shut up! My grandma would want me to be happy. Matter of fact, she always told me that I was her favorite grandson. Mostly because she had dementia and she forgot all her other grandkids. But still, another reason I'm so happy is I heard there's gonna be a chocolate fountain at the funeral. What? Are they gonna put a bounce house there too? Like you're telling me, if you were at a funeral and they had a chocolate fountain and a bounce house, you would not be happy. Anyways, this is the final look. I was just in a hot tub with two deaf people and it got so weird because they would look at me and then do sign language to each other and laugh. So I knew they were either judging me or making fun of me. And listen, I don't discriminate. If you want to talk trash, I'll talk trash. So my first idea was to cover both of their eyes so they couldn't communicate anymore, but that was kind of too far. So I did this motion back to them because I thought that meant like F you or screw you. But then they laughed even more. So I looked it up and apparently this is calling someone cute in sign language. They were not cute. They were mean! So if anyone knows how to talk trash in sign language, please tell me because I need to fight back next time. A friend passed away the other day and his mom texted me saying, hey, could you send some pictures of you with him? Because she wanted to have pictures of him with all of his friends shown at his funeral. So I was like, yeah, of course. So I started scrolling through my phone and it was at that moment where I realized me and my friend in our 13 years of friendship have never taken a picture together. We were good friends too. One time a raccoon was chasing me and he grabbed it and threw it like a frisbee to save me. I guess it's just true what they say about guy friends not taking pictures with each other. And don't get mad at me for laughing, okay? Because even his mom thought this was fun. A girl at my school asked me out and I panicked because I did not want to say yes, but I also didn't want to hurt her feelings. So I said, yeah, I'll go out with you. But you should know that the last girlfriend I had was a little bit crazy. And after we broke up, she saw me talking to another girl and she bit a part of her ear off. Poor girl can't even hear out of the right side anymore. I was lying. This did not happen. My ex-girlfriend was not Mike Tyson, but it was enough to scare her off. So that every time after that, when she saw me in the hallways at school, she would turn around and speed walk the exact opposite way. So if you need an excuse to tell someone no when they ask you out, just use that. It will work. I have seen 3 different animals pass away in 3 really weird different ways this week. The first animal I saw pass away was a possum. It was in a trash can and the trash can fell over, the possum rolled out, and I ran it over on accident. The second time, my dog was barking at a squirrel, so the squirrel climbed up a telephone pole, got electrocuted, and fell into our pool. And the third time, which was the most stupid, was I was getting into my car and then I started to close my door, and as I closed my door, a butterfly tried to fly in and I crushed it. I had a friend who ate a butterfly once. Weird kid. I'm pretty sure he's in prison now. But anyway, has anyone else seen stuff like this happen to animals? Or am I just cursed? You guys ever had a friend who got their braces off and then all of a sudden they started biting the air every time they talked? They would be like, yeah, I did get my braces off. How did you even notice that though? Like, we see your chompers, okay? We get it. Your lips look like they're trying to twerk every time you talk. Does anyone else feel like they were born in the wrong generation? Because imagine if they put me and you in the 1800s and this absolute banger came on. When I go on TikTok, there is something evil that happens to me because like if I see a baby in real life, I'm like, oh, that baby is so cute. But if I see a baby on a TikTok post, I'm like, that baby is so stupid. Why is it looking at me like that? I just become a D1 hater. Like, I flip a switch in my brain and it just becomes so hateful. Is anyone else like this? I think I'm just gonna stop going outside, guys, because I can't stop oversharing to random strangers. Someone walked up to me and said, hey, I like your pants. And I said, thanks. I accidentally sharted in them one time and now there's a stain on the inside. Why would I say that? Someone told me that I really need a therapist, and that sounds like a great idea, but my problem is I would just lie to them. It would be like, are you okay? Yeah. Are you lying? Yeah. Okay, well that's all the time we have today. That'll be $500. I was driving and I sneezed, so I swerved a little bit and the car next to me honked. But they didn't stop there. No, they sped up right next to me. And remember, they have tinted windows, so I can't see inside their car. And I was thinking this guy's either just about to flip me off or curse at me or something. So he rolls his window down, and what does he do? He throws a piece of cheese at my car, then rolls his window right back up without saying anything. Why do you even have cheese in your car? Are you going to a picnic or something? Have you ever been in a conversation with someone where they say something sad but like kind of funny, and then you just respond with the most insane facial expression ever, and then think, I should not have made that face out loud? Because I was talking to someone and they were telling me how their grandma passed away from falling off a jet ski at 84 years old. And I kid you not, this was my reaction. I did that face for like a second and then I stopped because I was like, that is the most out-of-pocket reaction I could have just had to what she said. I think I just have like no social awareness at all. I just Googled the name of a kid who used to bully me when I was 12 years old. First thing that pops up, a GoFundMe. His house burned down! I obviously feel so bad for him and his family. Somebody call 911! Shawty fire burning on it. Tomorrow was my first day back at school. I'm so excited. So excited. So excited. Why aren't you mewing? Bro needs to start mewing. I don't know what mewing is! I keep hearing about it, but it doesn't make sense to me. How do I mute? Okay, I just looked it up, and apparently you have to put your tongue to the roof of your mouth, and it makes your jawline look better. So I'm gonna try it. Ready? Yo, wait 1 second. Yo, do you see that? Yo, my jawline looks amazing. Wait, one more time. Yo, I'm doing it. I'm mewing. I'm a muir. This is so disgusting. My dog keeps farting while I'm trying to eat, and now all my food tastes like seasoned farts. I'm not even kidding. The food even smells like farts now. The fumes from his farts are literally attaching to the food. His gas is literally making my eyes water. Imagine that fart spray that used to be popular. This literally smells like it, but 10 times worse. It's like eating a fart. This sucks. I love Wingstop, but I don't know if I could eat this, and it's so expensive. My phone is literally fogging up from his farts. I need to open a window. What did you eat? So I have a teacher that's from Russia, and I have nothing against that. But I cannot understand a word this guy says! And also, I don't know if it's just because I'm not familiar with Russian culture, but some of the things that this guy says to students literally sound like threats. One time, a student's phone rang in class, and the teacher got really angry, and he yelled, "You will suffer for your actions!" Suffer? I'm just trying to learn calculus! I can't even understand math normally when someone's teaching it to me. How do you expect me to understand it when I can't comprehend what the teacher's saying? On the first day of class, he picked me to answer a question, and he said, "Answer number 1." And I said, "Sorry, what question?" He said, "Van." I said, "Sorry, I still can't understand which question you're asking me to answer." And he said, "Answer number 1." And he pointed to the first question on the worksheet, and I said, "Oh, number 1. And I'm pretty sure he thought that I was making fun of him, so now he hates me. So I'm definitely gonna fail his class. And I'm probably gonna suffer for my actions too. I still don't know what that means." The other day, a lady came up to me and asked me to take a picture of her with her family, and that was a mistake because I thought I was a great photographer. Like, I try really hard to take good pictures. So I took their picture and I asked them how they liked it, and the lady goes, "Oh my," she has a southern accent, by the way. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I love these pictures. They are just perfect." So I was like, awesome. I felt great about it, and I walked away. But as I'm walking away, about 2 minutes later, I see another person taking their pictures. So I'm thinking clearly the wife lied to me, and she thought my pictures actually sucked and needed to ask another person to take it for her. And for some reason in that moment, I thought it would be a good idea to go back over to her and ask her what was wrong with the pictures. So that's what I did. And she said, "I'm just gonna be honest with you. You might not have a future as a photographer, sweetie." I was like, damn, I pretty much assumed that you didn't like the pictures already, but you didn't have to say that. So then I said, "What specifically was so bad about the picture?" And she said, "Well, for starters, you didn't actually take any pictures." And I was like, "Yes, I did." And she said, "No, you didn't. You took a slow motion video." And she showed me her phone, and she was right. I took one 20-second long slow motion video. Then I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sorry." And she was like, "Yeah, we asked for a photo, not a slow motion video." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, sorry. I thought you guys asked for a slow motion video." Of course I knew you wanted a photo. It was an accident. But either way, that was very humbling and embarrassing. So if you see me in public and want me to take a picture of you, I'm gonna say no because I have PTSD now. This is a warning to never put your phone on Do Not Disturb mode because my friend got arrested for trespassing. But you may be asking, what does that have to do with my phone being on Do Not Disturb? Well, you see, my friend lives by himself and the rest of his family lives a couple states away. So if he ever has a problem, he either reaches out to me or one of our other friends. So he got arrested and I had no idea this happened until I looked at my phone and I saw that I had a voicemail from 9 hours ago. But I didn't recognize who the voicemail was from. So I clicked on it and I listened to it. And it turns out I was his one phone call from jail. Why would you call me? Who do I look like, Saul Goodman? But anyways, I called the jail back, and apparently he got released by the time I saw my voicemail. So I called his actual number to see how he was doing, and he said that he was fine, and that he walked home from the jail when he got out. So in my head, I'm like, oh, the jail must be pretty close to where he lives then, right? So I Googled the location of the jail, and he lives 7 miles away from it. So I called him back, and I said, dude, did you just walk 7 miles home? And he says, oh, is that how far I walked? So this is your friendly reminder to never put your phone on Do Not Disturb because your friend, that's now a felon, might get stranded if you do. This is your warning to not shop at Walgreens because my mom works there and they get robbed every single day in like the most bizarre ways. Like the other day, she got home from work and I said, how was your day? And she said, oh, we got robbed again. And I said, what happened this time? And then she said, a guy came into the store, didn't say a word, walked behind the cash register, somehow knew the passcode to the cash register, typed it in, took all the money out, and then walked back out of the store without saying a word. I said, did anyone try to stop him? She said, no, we're not supposed to. Yeah, for minimum wage, I wouldn't either. And she says this as if it's just a normal Tuesday. Like, there was another time where she came home and she was like, oh, we're getting robbed right now. And I said, right now? And she said, yeah, but my shift ended, so I just clocked out. I said, you clocked out during a robbery? And she was like, yeah, the guy's been robbing the store for 3 hours. I said, how does a robbery take 3 hours? And she was like, Well, he came in and we recognized him because he's robbed us before. So we called the cops, and when the cops came, he saw them and got scared. So he locked himself in the bathroom, and that's where he's at right now. And I try to convince her to quit the job because she doesn't need it. My dad makes good money, but she just does it for fun because she's bored. And I'm always like, Mom, quit your job. But she's always like, no, I don't want to quit my job. Yes, you do! I hear you complain about it every day. But my question to everyone that works at Walgreens or a store like that, is this normal, or does my mom just work in Gotham City or something? This is your warning to never do what the guy I just saw at Target did, especially on Valentine's Day. He was in an argument with his girlfriend, so I went to the aisle right next to them so I could hear what they were arguing about because they were not being quiet. So when I started listening, I could hear the girl saying, you always do stuff like this. You're so cheap. So I was like, what's he being cheap about? So I keep listening, and they're just going back and forth, but they haven't revealed what exactly made her angry. But then I hear him say, it's the thought of the card that counts. And she says, the card is $5. You don't think I'm worth $5? So after a little bit more arguing, I figured out that what happened was this man went to Target on Valentine's Day with his girlfriend, went to the card section, picked out a card for her, let her read it, and then he put it back. The worst part is this guy was wearing like nice Jordans, so he can't be that broke. I kind of get it though, because once you read a card, what do you do with it? You throw it away anyway, right? But you just can't do that to your girlfriend on Valentine's Day. I can't wait for when Christmas time comes around and he takes her to like the Chanel store or something. And he lets her try on a bunch of different purses. And when she finds the one she loves, she says, ooh, can I please get this purse? And he says, wasn't wearing it in the store enough? I feel like that might actually happen. So if you have a girlfriend, don't do what he did, or you won't have a girlfriend anymore. What do people talk about? Because like, I'm not shy, but I just cannot think of anything to say when I'm talking to someone. I see people having conversations for hours and I'm like, what do you guys talk about? Because after I say, hey, how are you doing? I'm finished. It's gotten so bad that one time I Googled what to talk about with people and the search results terrified me because all of them were like, hey, don't worry, I don't know how to talk to people either. But now I'm 39, single, no friends, and I have a lizard. And honestly, I kind of like this life. Like, no offense, but I do not want to be you. This is your reminder that your parents aren't racist, they just don't have a good memory. How does that correlate, you may ask? Well, you see, I have a friend who's Asian, and my parents love this kid. They always say how nice he is, but my parents' problem is, they can never remember names. So whenever I say I'm going to hang out with my friends, they ask which ones, and I say, Jaden, and they say, is that the Asian one? Yes, Mom, he does happen to be Asian. But here's the other issue. I have a couple friends who happen to be Asian, so asking if he's Asian isn't enough to know who it is. So after they ask that question, they say, oh, is it the one on the heavier side? Wow, I mean, he has red hair, so you could have asked if it was the one with red hair, but yeah, I guess he's the one on the heavier side. But they love this kid. They don't mean to say it with any harm. They just can't memorize names. Even mine. One time, my mom said, get in here, Ryland. I've never met a Ryland in my life. So is anyone else's parents like this, or is it just mine? I went to school with a guy who just got put in prison for murder, and he was super popular when we were in school. So now that he's in prison, a bunch of our old classmates are posting stuff on social media saying to free him. This man got booked for murder, not littering, and you want him to be free? You want him to roam the same streets that your mother roams? And just for context, when we were in school, he used to pretend to stab people with a pencil, but we would just laugh it off because he was the cool kid. Now we know he was just fantasizing about really doing it. California State Prison, if you are watching this video, do not free him! He will do it again! How do people break up, then get in a different relationship like a month later? Like, how do you do that so quick? Because I know someone who got cheated on, and he was crying for like 2 days straight because he said he thought this was the girl that he was gonna marry. And 3 weeks later, I see that he's on a plane to go see a new girl. How did you do that so quickly? Like, I've been trying to be in a relationship for my whole life and haven't been able to do it once. And you did it twice in 1 month? There's a trend going around where people ask if you were to pass away, who would be the 6 people to carry your casket at your funeral? And this trend terrifies me because I got like 2 friends. How do you all have so many friends? I see a bunch of people going out every weekend with different people. Where did you find them? Is there a secret on how to have new friends that I'm just not aware of? Because I got 2. They're about to be dragging my casket like this. If you were a doctor and you were on a plane and someone started to have a heart attack, what would you do? Because one time I was on a flight and someone started hyperventilating and then they passed out. And someone was like, oh my gosh, is anyone on here, doctor? And one guy raised his hand and said, yes, I am. And then they said, can you help this guy? He just passed out. And you know what the doctor says? He says, oh, I'm not that type of doctor. I'm a dentist. Then why would you raise your hand? You think this guy needs a cavity filled on the plane? No! Luckily, the guy that passed out ended up being okay, and it turns out he was just nervous because it was his first flight. But I know now that when that doctor goes on flights in the future, he is not raising his hand. The other day, I was recording a TikTok and my friend says to me, have you ever realized how bad your posture is when you make these videos? And I said, no, I haven't really thought about it. So I'm recording myself from the side right now on another phone to see if it's as bad as he says, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. The other day, I was making a TikTok and my friend says to me, have you ever realized how bad your posture is? I look disgusting! You know what? I'm never slouching again. I'm not. If you see me in public, I'm standing up straight like this from now on. Why do people have hobbies? Because the other day someone asked me what my hobbies are, and I was like, oh, I have a bunch of hobbies. And they're like, yeah, like what? And I panicked because that was a lie. I don't have any hobbies. So I was like, sleeping. I like sleeping. Napping. Napping is pretty fun. Spoons. Spoons are cool too. Forks are pretty. I don't know. This is embarrassing. What hobbies do normal people have? Don't go anywhere near the little kids that own a Stanley Cup because I was walking past a group of them after they just got out of school, and I had my cheap little knockoff water bottle flask with me. And apparently, these kids bully anyone that uses a cup that's not made from Stanley. You know what these little kids said to me? They said, "Why don't you have a Stanley Cup? Are you broke or something?" First of all, I'm not broke. I just like my cheap bottle, okay? And third of all, you're 8 years old. You're broke. If I cracked open your piggy bank, there would be like 73 cents in there. So the $11 that's in my bank account should be like $1 million to you. But yeah, don't go around the kids with Stanley Cups. They will hurt your feelings. No one talks about how crazy it is when people that you went to school with start to get married, because there's 2 people from my school that just got married. Meanwhile, I still live with my parents. I asked the guy who's getting married what he likes to do for fun, and he said that he likes to do wedding planning with his fiance. And then he asked me what I like to do for fun, and I was like, oh, I like to play Minecraft. I don't know. Like, bro, I'm still just a little baby. And you're getting married? Like, I practically came out of the womb yesterday. I'm still an infant. You may have done something embarrassing today, but it wasn't as embarrassing as what I did. I was talking to a mom that has a special needs son, but she didn't say what type of disability he has, and because I'm on TikTok way too much, I accidentally said, oh, is your son acoustic? Instead of saying autistic. She was like, are you asking if he likes guitars? And I didn't even realize I said it wrong, so I said, what does his disability have to do with guitars? And she said, you asked if he's acoustic. My face instantly turned red. That was the last sign. I need to throw my phone off a cliff. Someone is catfishing people on Tinder by using my pictures, and all I have to say is, that is awesome. I will admit, it is messed up, but do you know how flattering that is? Like, you think I'm good looking enough that you're gonna catfish people with my pictures? Like, that is the best compliment you could get from someone. Now, I will say, it is weird, so whoever's doing this, don't be saying weird stuff and pretending that it's coming from me, because I know you're a little freaky if you're a catfish already, but if you're gonna be using my pictures, don't be too freaky, alright? But also, at the same time, thank you. I really needed the confidence booster. I appreciate it. Why can guys not show emotion to each other without it being weird? Because my friend just literally beat cancer. And when he told me that, I reacted by saying, that's amazing, bro. I love you. And I tried to give him a hug, but he backed away. And then he gave me a weird look and I said, what's wrong? And he said, that's weird, bro. You can't say I love you, then go in for a hug. We're dudes. Bro, you just beat cancer. I'm not trying to take your pants off. All I was saying is that I love you and I'm glad you're alive. But he was like, nah, that's just too weird, bro. So from now on, if any of my friends do something amazing like beating cancer, this is how I'm gonna react. Oh, you beat cancer? Hey, that's fire, bro. That's fire. How do people cheat? Like, it genuinely seems hard to cheat. Because I knew someone that was in a relationship, and while they were in it, they would go on Tinder and try to find people to hook up with, but they would put their location in 200 miles away from where they were actually at. Because he didn't want anyone in his area to find out that he was on Tinder and tell his girlfriend. So when he would get a match with someone, it would be 200 miles away, and he said he would literally drive out all the way there, hook up with her, and then come back the same day. Like, that's a full-time job. I don't get how people can be this down bad, though. Like, you obviously don't love your girlfriend. Just break up with the poor girl. Like, he told me that a lot of people actually do this. So, have you guys heard of this happening before? This is a warning if you're thinking about texting your crush first, because I used to like this girl, but I would never text her because I thought to myself, if she likes me back, she'll initiate the conversation. But she never did, so we literally never talked. And I saw her for the first time in years yesterday, and I asked her, why did you never hit me up? And she said, I was waiting for you to make the first move. So we literally never talked because we were both waiting for the other person to make the first move. And I was thinking to myself, like, damn, I wonder what could have happened between us if I hit her up first. But now she's engaged, so I think that's off the table. But this should be your sign. If you like someone, text them first. They'll probably be happy you did. Or they'll block you. At least you'll get an answer. I did no one tell me that Black History Month has a flag because I just horribly embarrassed myself. I was waiting in line to get food at the airport and the person behind me complimented my jacket. So I wanted to give them a compliment back. And they were wearing a little pin on their shirt. So I said, I like the pin you're wearing. Is that the country you're from? You know what they said? They said, no, this isn't a country. It's the Black History Month flag. Bro, I thought that was the Lithuania flag. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Luckily, they laughed it off and they were cool about it, but my face got so red. This is why I don't open my mouth, like, ever. I'm stupid. I'm just stupid. Why can't people sit in silence together? Like, sometimes I want to hang out with someone, but I don't want to talk. I just want to be in their presence. But whenever it gets quiet, we always feel the need to say something, and then it leads to stupid conversations like, who invented the order of the alphabet? Like, bro, I don't know. Can we just be quiet? Ever get into an Uber if the driver seems weird? Because I got into an Uber the other day, and the driver was a little creepy from the start, but I was like, whatever, no big deal. But then he took a wrong turn, and I was like, excuse me, sir, I think you missed the turn. And he said, don't worry, I know a shortcut. But he kept going in the wrong direction, so I was like, oh, I know what's going on here. I'm getting kidnapped. At least that's what I thought was happening. So he continued driving, and I kept trying to make excuses for him to let me out of the car. Like, there was McDonald's on the side, and I was like, sir, you could just drop me off here. I'm feeling pretty hungry. And he says, Oh, I can't do that. I gotta take you to the destination in the app, or else I'll get in trouble. I mean, you've taken like 10 wrong turns already, but yeah, stopping at McDonald's is what's gonna get you in trouble. So anyways, 2 minutes later, he pulls into an elementary school parking lot, and I'm thinking, there's no way this man's allowed within 500 feet of this place. But he went in anyway, and you know what he did? He picked up a kid from school. He went 25 minutes out of the way to pick his kid up from school. And honestly, I respect that. But why are you driving me too? But that's not even the funniest part. After the kid gets in the car, he looks me up and down like this and goes, "What's up, Holmes?" First of all, you are 7. Why do you talk like that? And second of all, did you just look me up and down to see if I'm armed? So now I'm in the car with 2 people, and I'm more scared of the kid than the dad now. Like, I'm pretty sure if I cough weird, this kid's just gonna start stabbing me with a pencil. But anyways, 25 minutes later, he gets me to my destination. And this man has the audacity to say, "Hey, don't forget to leave 5 stars. So you know what I did? I stood up to him, and I said, "Yes, of course, sir, absolutely," and walked away super quick. This man had my address now. I was not about to give him 1 star. If that Uber driver or his son are watching this video, actually probably more to his son, please don't come in my house. I'm terrified of you guys. Are some teachers just the worst people ever? Because I have a class where we have to write essays every single week, and almost everyone always fails because the teacher grades it so strictly. And this week, the girl that sat next to me got her score back before me, and she started crying. So I said, "What did you get?" She got a 94%. That is like unheard of. So I asked her how she did it. And she said she used a website called Aether.com. So I looked into the website and it's crazy. So this is how it works. All you have to do is give this website a topic to write about and it will generate an essay for you. You put how long you want it to be and you can adjust how you want the tone of the essay to be so it sounds like it's coming from you. And it can even give you references in different formats. And it will give you the most detailed essays you've ever seen. And I know what everyone's thinking. These types of websites always get caught by AI detectors. But this is the first website I found that can autocorrect AI to make it sound like it's been written by a human. And it obviously worked for the girl in my class. So do with that information what you want. I hope it helps. People actually have foot fetishes? Because someone DM'd me and they said, "How much for feet pics?" And I thought they were just kidding at first. So I replied back joking too and I said, "I charge per toe." But then they sent me $10 and they said, "Okay, now you know I'm serious. So how much do you charge per toe?" I didn't reply for like a day and I thought it would just end there. But he kept spamming me and he said, "How much do you charge per toe?" And I said, "Wait, are you actually serious?" And he said, "Yeah, I have a foot fetish." So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm just going to say a huge dollar amount so that he says no. And then he stops asking me for feet pics. So I said, $500 for feet pics. But he said, okay. So then I had to think for a second. I was like, wait, should I actually send him feet pics if he's going to give me $500? But I didn't do it because it felt too weird. But I never knew people actually had foot fetishes. I thought it was a joke the whole time. Like, send feet pics? I didn't know that was real. But like, what would you do? Is this weird or am I tripping? Like, should I send the pics? I could use the money. I'm not gonna lie. Last time I had a crush on this girl, so I slid into her DMs and sent a message saying hello. Or at least I thought I did. And I know that's a horrible first message. I got no game. But anyways, when I typed the DM out, apparently it spell checked to hippo. And I sent it without even realizing it. So a couple hours later, I went to go see if she read my message. But it was too late because she already blocked me. There was literally not a worse thing that spell check could have changed it to. But usually I get no response. So her blocking me might actually be progress. I may have done something stupid today, but it wasn't as stupid as what my friend did. My friend was throwing a surprise party for his girlfriend that he's been dating for 6 months. Remember that? And he invited a bunch of their friends over. But when she got there, everyone jumped out and yelled, "Surprise!" But she was super confused. Why was she confused, you may ask? Well, you see, it turns out her birthday wasn't for another 3 months. How did my friend get her birthday that wrong, you may ask? Well, he never actually knew his girlfriend's birthday, but he thought he did. And it turns out that he mixed up his current girlfriend's birthday with his ex-girlfriend's birthday. And you know what the dumbest part was? He told her that. Why would you even admit that? Just don't talk. Don't say anything. There's nothing you can say that will make the situation better. But hey, I still had a free slice of cake, so it was a good day for me. I used to think there was nothing in the world that could give me the ick until what I saw yesterday. Because I was talking to a girl, and she seemed completely normal at first. But then she showed me her dog, and I was like, oh, that's a cute dog. There was no problem with it. But then she said, "Do you want to see my dog's Instagram?" And I was like, your dog's got its own Instagram? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, whatever, it's 2024. Dogs have social media now. So I said, yeah, show me the Instagram. And I still didn't have the ick at this point. But when she showed me what the dog's Instagram looked like, I got the ick. It would have a picture of the dog, and then the captions would be worded as if the dog wrote it themselves. Like one of the captions were, "Got to enjoy a great walk with my mom today." You're telling me the same dog that eats its own poop is writing Instagram captions? No. No. Like the dog is clearly not writing the captions. Why are we pretending it is? I'm not kidding when I say the hairs on my arms literally stood up when I read that. And the thing is, I didn't know this was an ick that I had, but I know it now. So that's the first ick that I found out that I have, and now I understand why people get them. You just can't control it. You can't. I do people who can't wake up to alarms have the most obnoxious ones. Because I almost hit my brother with a frying pan last night. Because he went to bed 2 hours before me, and this guy cannot wake up to an alarm, no matter what. But he had 20 alarms set for 6 a.m. So when 6 a.m. came around, guess who woke up? Not him. He just sleeps through it the whole time. And you know what the worst part is? This is his ringtone. Why would you choose that one? Every time it goes off, I think we're getting a tsunami warning in the middle of the night. And somehow, he sleeps right through it every time. I'm gonna throw his phone out the window next time. Matter of fact, I could throw him out the window. He still wouldn't wake up. Why are people flirting in the comment sections of my videos? Like, a girl commented on my video, and this guy must have thought that she was cute from her profile picture. So he replied to her and said, "You're cute." And the girl responds back and says, "Thanks." And then he says, "Can I get your number?" And she says, "DM me." Like, get that off my page, man. I was so upset that other people are finding love on my videos, but I can't even do it. So I just deleted the video. So from now on, if anyone flirts with someone in my comment section, you're blocked. You're blocked. Petty doesn't even begin to describe where I'm at now. I can't take it anymore! No one talks about how different cultures have such different expectations for their kids, because one time I was taking a test and I got a 71% on it, and I was pumped because that meant that I passed the test, but the girl next to me was crying. So I said, "Why are you crying? Did you do bad on the test?" And she was like, "Yeah." So I said, "What did you get?" She got an 88%. She was crying over that. So I was like, "That's a great score. Why are you crying?" And she told me that her parents will probably smack her for not getting an A. I was like, "Damn, you're gonna get smacked for getting an 88%? My parents are probably gonna take me out for ice cream just because I passed the damn thing." So now that I think of it, I see why she's going to an Ivy League school right now, and I went to community college. But is anyone else's parents like this? You know how people say the customer is always right? That is absolutely not true. Some customers are just stupid. Because I used to work at a clothing store, and one time a customer came up to me with a shirt in their hand, and they said, "Excuse me, do you have this shirt in a medium?" But I checked the tag on the shirt that she gave me, and it was a medium, so I was like, actually, this is a medium. And she was like, "No, it's not, because I wear a size medium, and this shirt is way too tight on me. It must be a small." So I was like, "Whatever, I'll get you another shirt." So I go get her another medium-sized shirt, as she asked for, and I give it to her, and she tries it on, and it's still too tight. So I said to her, "Ma'am, do you maybe want to try a large shirt on?" And then she said, "No, I don't want to try a large shirt on. I'm a medium. Your sizes are just all wrong." Ma'am, that is a medium-sized shirt. You're not gonna want to hear this, but maybe you just gained a few pounds. It's okay, it happens. One time I gained 8 pounds in a day because I ate too many donuts. But I promise you, the shirt is not gaslighting you. It's a medium. And she got so upset when I asked her if she wanted to try a large on that she vowed to never shop there again. And I don't know if she said that because she thought that would make me upset, but I was jumping for joy inside because that meant I wouldn't have to deal with her ever again. But why do they say the customer is always right and not the employee? The employee is the one who works there. They know what they're talking about. The person I went to school with passed away like a year ago, and I was going through a list of the people that I follow, and their name came up. So I'm trying to decide if I should unfollow them or not. I feel like it's messed up to do, but we weren't close or anything. We were just acquaintances. And I know this may sound crazy, but I have a feeling that if I unfollow them, their ghost will haunt me. I know it probably won't happen, but I don't want to take the chance. Like, they're never gonna post again, so do I need to follow them? Also, their account is private, so if I unfollow them, I will never be able to follow them again. What do I do? Ever eat in public? Because the other night, I was at a restaurant, and the people in front of me were taking a selfie, so I was in the background of the picture. But I didn't notice they were taking a picture until the very last second. So if you look back at the photo, it looks like I'm just creepily staring into their camera. So I could literally see the girl look at the photo, and then turn back at me like this. But the most embarrassing part is that after this happened, I could still see her phone from where I was sitting. So you want to know what she did? She made a sticker out of my head on Snapchat. So in someone's camera roll somewhere, there is just a random sticker of my floating head. This is what happens when I go out in public. So yeah, I'm never leaving the house again. Tipping is getting way out of hand because the other day, my car broke down on the freeway. So I pulled over to the side and called a tow truck company. By the way, I'm not a cheap person, but there is a time and a place for tipping. So anyways, I called the tow truck company and they sent someone out to me. So the tow truck worker arrives and he has a big beard with big muscles. He's huge, but he seems pretty nice at first. He hooks the car up and then he tells me how much I have to pay. It was like $105. That already almost made me cry, but then I was like, all right, whatever, I'm just gonna pay it. So I paid it, and then the tipping option comes up. First of all, I didn't even know that tow truck companies ask for tips, but I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just give him a little tip. So I give him $5. He sees that I give him $5 and he says, "That's it?" I said, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Well, it took me 45 minutes to drive here, and the total was $105, so $5 is a really small tip." Bro, my car just broke down. How much money do you think I have? So I said, "Sorry, that's all I can afford to give right now." And remember, this guy is huge. He is scary looking. And he just looks back at me and goes, "Whatever, man." But the most terrifying part was that obviously I didn't have a car anymore, so he had to drive me to the place where my car was getting repaired. So I get in his truck, and he starts driving to the repair place, and I kid you not, I could feel so much tension in that vehicle. Like, no joke, it felt like at any moment, he was just gonna swing at me. But I'm happy to say, he got me there without hitting me once. But I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like tipping is getting out of hand. Am I the problem, or do other people feel like this too? Someone put my number on Craigslist saying that I'm selling wheelchairs, so now every day, I'm getting calls from old people asking to buy these wheelchairs. So old people are horrible with technology, and they don't understand that there's no wheelchairs. So they keep calling me back every day. I don't know if these people just have dementia and they forget that they already called me 20 times, or if they're just horrible at using the internet. But either way, they won't stop. So if you see someone selling wheelchairs on Craigslist, it's fake. Don't call the number. No one talks about how crazy women's intuition is, because there was a girl at my school that thought her boyfriend was cheating on her, but she had no evidence of it. She just had a gut feeling. So she literally went through a list of all the girls that her boyfriend followed. And she somehow found a random girl's page that she just had a weird suspicion about. So she DM'd her. And apparently, that girl was also dating the guy at the same time, and neither of them knew. She just randomly picked the right girl. How did she do that out of the 400 people that he follows, you may ask? I don't know. But that's why you don't cheat on your girlfriend. They will turn into the best detective you've ever seen. There's not many things in life that can embarrass me, except for the one time when I had a fart during a test in school. So right as I'm about to let it rip, I try to cough to cover it up. But the fart ended up being like 5 seconds long, so I just had to keep coughing the whole time. I was like... And I thought I got away with it, but after class ended, one of my friends came up to me and he was like, dude, that was a gnarly fart. And I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't fart. And he was like, dude, you do realize that your fart was like way louder than your cough, right? So I asked him if he thought anyone else noticed that I farted, and he was like, yeah, literally everyone in the class noticed. So the next day, I tried to avenge myself by making fart noises in class, hoping that everyone would think that's what I was also doing the day before. But after like 4 minutes of making fart noises, the kid that sits next to me was tired of hearing it, and he was like, dude, we all know you farted yesterday, okay? You don't have to fake fart noises. We all know it was real. We could smell it. When he said they could smell it, I thought about packing my bags and moving to the North Pole and never talking to humans again. I couldn't take that embarrassment, bro. But I got over it, and now I'm happy to say that I own my farts. When I fart in class now, I raise my hand. So if you fart in class, own it. People respect that. People love accountable farters. This is your reminder that you cannot sell your friends. Because I have a buddy who really likes this girl, but she doesn't really like him back yet. Like, he asked her out on a date already, and she said no. So he's trying to figure out what he can do to make her want to go out with him. Lucky for him, she has a friend that does everything with her. So my friend thought it would be a great idea to offer for me to come so we could all go on a double date. Did he ask me if I wanted to do this? No. But do I want to do it? No! So the girl's best friend DM'd me trying to get to know me better before we go on the double date. And she asked me, are you excited? And I was trying to think of a way that I could say, no, I'm not excited, I don't want to go. But I was nervous and I panicked. So I just made up a lie and said, I'm not really excited because my last girlfriend just died and I'm still not over her. That's a lie. That never happened. But it was the first excuse that I could think of. So the girl was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I get if it's too soon to go on dates again. And I was like, yeah, I'm just not ready yet. So I got out of the date. That's good, right? But then my friend hit me up and he said, hey, when did you have a girlfriend that passed away? I didn't! That was a lie! But this is what happens when you put me up for sale! So you shouldn't have done that! Welcome back to oversharing to you guys because I don't have any friends to overshare to. So I always thought I was going to want to open casket at my funeral, but I recently found out that that is a horrible idea. Because last month I went to a funeral that had an open casket, and while everyone was super sad and crying, there was a girl that's about 11 years old, and she ran up to the casket and took a selfie with the corpse. Yes, she took a selfie with a deceased body. Now I don't blame her, she's a child, but if you think I'm going to get caught lacking at my own funeral and let someone take a selfie with me while I can't pose, that's not happening. I get insecure when people take pictures of me when I know it's gonna happen. You think I'm gonna let someone take a picture of me while I can't pose? No. Like, imagine if they get a picture of your bad side. That's so embarrassing. I'm not letting that happen. No one talks about how funny it is to see your friends do adult stuff like get a job or start a family. Because when I look at that friend, I just remember that that's the same person that lit his hair on fire in high school because he thought hair wasn't flammable. Like, yeah, that's the same guy that works for a law firm now. I can't believe it. This is your warning to not text in lowercase because one time I was texting a girl in lowercase and I thought it was going really well until she said, why are you texting like that? But I didn't really understand what she meant, so I said, texting like what? And then she said, you're typing in lowercase. That's supposed to be for girls only. And then she stopped talking to me. I'm not gonna lie, I was hurt, but I also had a bunch of respect for her because it was true. Every time I typed in lowercase, I always felt just a little sassy, you know? It didn't feel right. I only did it because everyone else did it. But now I learned my lesson. I'm never typing in lowercase again. Have you ever done something insane because you had a crush on someone? Because there was a girl that used to be obsessed with me. And I'm not saying that to brag, because this is not the type of girl you want to be obsessed with you. But this girl happened to be really interested in psychology, so she tried to manipulate me psychologically to make me like her. It was like a superpower she had. Like when we were in school, she would wear such a strong perfume that you could smell it whenever she walked into the room. And her plan was to spray the same perfume in my backpack so that when I would get home from school and I would open my backpack to do my homework, my whole house would start to smell like her. And apparently she thought this would make me think about her when I was at home. And then eventually, her smell would make me think of being back at home. And she thought that this would make me like her somehow. How do I know this was her plan? Well, one of the days that she tried spraying the perfume in my backpack, I caught her doing it. So I confronted her about it and asked what she was doing. And she explained it all to me. But the scariest part was that she didn't think what she was doing was crazy. Like, she wasn't embarrassed at all. She was smiling when she was telling me her plan. I could tell that she thought I would be impressed with what she was saying instead of thinking that it's psychotic. And don't get me wrong, I was impressed. I respect the dedication, honestly, because I've been delusional about someone like that before too. But she also terrified me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she put a hidden camera in my house and was listening to me right now. If you want to impress a girl, do not pretend to have an accent, because I did that once and it went horribly. So I go to the same coffee shop every day, and one day I see a pretty girl walk in. Perfect hair, perfect teeth. I'm thinking, this is my future wife. And she's there with a friend, and they're just talking like girls do, and I'm trying to listen to the conversation so I can think of something smart to approach her with. And I hear her mention how she thinks British accents are so attractive. Bingo! There's my shot. So I'm thinking, I'm gonna go up to her and pretend that I have a British accent, and she's gonna fall in love, right? It sounds like a great plan in theory, but the only problem is, I've never practiced a British accent before, so I just walk up to her cold turkey, and the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, hello. Yeah, just like that. Hello. Dog, I don't even know if that is British. I was just trying to do my best Millie Bobby Brown impression because I know she's British. And the accent was so incredibly bad that these two girls just look at each other and start laughing. And I could tell they were laughing at me, not with me. So I just left. I don't know what I was thinking either, because if the accent somehow did work and she started to like me, at some point in the relationship, I was gonna have to admit to her that I'm not British. So it was just a stupid idea in general. But now I'm too scared to go back to my favorite coffee shop because I don't want to see them there. Why am I like this? Have you ever heard of someone passing away in such a ridiculous way that you just couldn't take it seriously? Because I knew someone whose grandma was like old. Like if you blew on her, she would probably be finished. So everyone in her life made sure to never make sudden movements around her because they didn't know if that would end her. Well, sadly, it did. Because this poor lady walked into a Bass Pro Shops for the first time, and if you don't know what Bass Pro Shops looks like, there's a bunch of taxidermied animals all over the place. But she did not know that, so when she walked in, she saw a taxidermied lion that looked like it was about to attack her like this. And this lion scared her so much that she had a heart attack on the spot and passed away. It's not funny. It's not funny. As a white person, when I go to a Mexican restaurant or a French cafe, I take pride in trying to perfectly announce the names of the dishes. Like I was eating Mexican food the other day, and when the waiter asked me what I wanted, I said, "Can I get a quesadilla y carne, please?" And at these types of food places, the workers are always people that come from that country. So this guy's got like a strong Spanish accent. And after I say that, he just looks at me and I could tell he was disappointed with me. Like I know he's just thinking, dude, just say quesadilla like all the other white people. But no, I respect other people's cultures. So if they pronounce it quesadilla y carne, I'm gonna say quesadilla y carne. And one day, I'm gonna pronounce it so good that they're gonna think I'm Mexican. One day. Quesadilla! Every friend group has that one person that they treat like a little kid because they're just not all there in the head. And this friend happens to be me because one time my friend got hit by a car, and you may ask, how does your friend getting hit by a car correlate to you being treated like a little kid? Well, you see, after this happened, my friend got transferred to the hospital, and he had a punctured lung, so he couldn't really talk good. And I went to visit him, but I was the only one there at the time because his mom went to go get his food. And the room was super quiet because he couldn't really talk, and I felt like I needed to spark a conversation to make him cheer up. So you know what I said to him? I said, "How's your day going?" He just got hit by a car, and I asked him how his day was. I don't think it was going good, but that's not even the worst part. After I said that, since he couldn't really talk without being in pain, he just decided to not respond to me at all, and instead he closed his eyes and started shaking his head really aggressively. And I had no idea what he was doing at the time, but a couple weeks later, he was talking to me, and he told me that he was hoping that if he focused hard enough, then when he opened his eyes again, I would just be gone. Honestly, I think that's deserved. I just gotta stop talking. Why do guys always take on the personality of their girlfriend? Because I have a friend who just got in his very first relationship, and he's clearly madly in love. Good for him. But the only problem is, I texted him the other day showing him a picture of a new jacket that I got, and his response was, "It's giving Hunger Games." First of all, ow, that hurts my feelings. Second of all, it's giving? When did you start saying that? I don't even think you knew what that phrase meant 3 months ago. Also, when he said this, I still hadn't met his girlfriend at the time, so about a week later, we all go to lunch together and I finally meet her. And this girl asks what I do for work, and after I tell her, she says, "Slay." Right when she said that, I was like, oh, okay, now I see what happens. This man just completely stole his girlfriend's whole personality. But good for him, he's in love. I'm not mad about it, because if you ask about my love life right now, it's giving lonely. Does anyone else have trauma that's like actually funny? Because I have a fear of garages from a horrible experience I had with one when I was younger. And what happened was I used to play a game where my dad would press the button to close the garage door, and I would wait to see how long I could let the garage close before running under at the last second. So one day I was doing this like always, but for some reason this time I decided to just let the garage door close a little bit more before I tried to sprint under it. And the worst possible thing that could have happened, happened. As the garage door got really close to shutting, I tried to sprint under it, but I tripped, so I didn't make it through in time, and the garage door got stuck on my neck. Yes, literally, on my neck. Talk about clumsy. Luckily, it didn't put any pressure on me, but it's pretty funny because my parents were already inside the house, so they didn't know this happened. And all of a sudden, they hear me screaming, so they sprint to the garage, and they see the door literally on my head. My mom said she thought I was decapitated. Anyways, my dad pressed the button to make the garage door back up, and they could see that I was okay. So after I got up, my mom was crying, and she gave me a big hug super tight, and then she got the belt and started spanking me. She was literally crying as she was spanking me with the belt because she was so traumatized, and she was like, "This hurts me more than it hurts you. Then stop doing it, Mom!" But she didn't, and I deserved it. But anyways, now I'm terrified to walk under garage doors anymore. Why does everything cause cancer these days? Like, someone told me that I needed to start wearing sunscreen or else I would get skin cancer, so I did. But then when I started using the sunscreen, I saw a video talking about how that exact sunscreen causes cancer too. What am I supposed to even do at this point? I'm scared to breathe because I think someone's gonna say that causes cancer. I'm just gonna stay inside my house for the rest of my life. But everyone who keeps commenting for me to oil up, my family follows me on here, but they don't understand social media at all. So what do you think their reaction is when they go in my comment section and see 500 comments saying, "Oil up, oil up, oil up"? The past 3 nights at dinner, I've had to explain to them what that means. So please stop commenting it. I can't do this anymore. How do people date someone that they don't want to marry? It doesn't make sense. How can you be in a relationship with someone and know that you're not going to marry them? That's such a waste of time. And I've asked people who are in relationships like this why they do it, and they always say something like, "Oh, I don't want to be alone." then get a dog. When you need a companion, you get a pet, not a human that you're gonna leave when you're bored. Or another response they'll always have is, I just wanna have fun right now. How is it fun being in a relationship with someone when you know it's gonna end? I would be crying the whole time. I don't get it. Ever talk to your mailman? Because I did one time, and now it's so awkward when I see him. Because he came up to my door, and I happened to be leaving my house, so we started talking for a couple of minutes, and there was no problem until the conversation was ending. And he said, nice talking to you. Bye now. And my response was so awkward because right before this, I just told my parents I love them as I was leaving the house, so that was still fresh in my mind. So when the mailman said bye to me, my response was, all right, love you. Bye. I didn't mean to say I love you. I said it out of habit, but it's ruined my life now because every time I see the mailman walking in my neighborhood, if he makes eye contact with me, he literally turns around and walks the opposite way, or he makes sure to go on the exact opposite side of the street so we're not close to each other. So I know he's avoiding me. So to my mailman, if you're watching this, please stop avoiding me, bro. It was an accident. I need my mail. This is your warning to never cry in front of me because one time my friend came up to me looking super sad, so I asked him what was wrong, and he literally was like, my dog, it passed away yesterday. And I genuinely felt so bad for him. But whenever someone is crying to me, I have no idea what to do, so I just start laughing for some reason. So when he told me his dog passed away, this was literally my reaction. Oh my gosh, dude, that's horrible. I'm so sorry. And after I did this, my friend was like, dude, why are you laughing? That's so messed up. And I was like, I don't know. I can't control it. So just don't cry in front of me. I'm sorry. I'm not the right person to go to. Why does everyone have no attention span these days? Like, with how fast-paced everything is now, I can't focus on anything for a long time anymore. Like, for example, the other day, I tried watching a movie, and I couldn't get through 5 minutes of it without going on my phone. I thought I was just never going to be able to enjoy watching TV shows again. But then I found this TV drama on an app called Real Short. So this is what the app looks like, and it's really easy to use. Finally made me able to enjoy watching TV shows again because each episode is only 1 minute long. So it's a new type of TV series that's smaller in size, much shorter, and way more fast-paced than normal TV. Like this episode that I'm watching is about a girl named Summer who paid for her ex-boyfriend's tuition and supported him all the way through school. But after all she's done for him, he left her for a rich lady. So Summer is heartbroken and hurt. So she marries a man she meets on the street. But once you find out who this stranger really is, you'll be shocked like me. Here, I'll show you what the show looks like.
Leave me alone.
Father, whatever you earn belongs to me.
Me too.
What if not her father?
So you're gonna sell your own daughter to the mom? What kind of father are you?
So if you enjoy short, fast-paced TV shows like every other young person does these days, you'll love Real Short. How do people break up then say they hate their ex? Because I know so many people who are like, my ex is the worst person on earth. My ex is so ugly. You literally chose to date them. A couple of months ago, you said you loved them. Do you know how much you have to like someone to date them? And now all of a sudden they're ugly? Like, why can't a relationship just end and both people say, oh, we just weren't a good match? Your ex doesn't always have to be the worst person on earth. Personally, I don't think it's a good look when you talk that negative about your ex. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. If you're ever feeling embarrassed, just know that I used to never wear underwear when I was a kid, but this ended up ruining my life. Because one day at school, there was a group of kids going around just pulling everyone's pants down because they thought it was funny. And most people laughed when they did it, but I was terrified because I knew that if they tried to do that to me, everyone would see my willy. So the whole day, I just made sure to be super aware of all my surroundings. But then at recess, I was playing basketball, and as I jumped to shoot the ball, a kid creeps up behind me and pulls my pants down. But the worst part was that since I was jumping as he was pulling my pants, they came like all the way down. It took me a good 5 seconds to get my pants back up, and everyone could see my private parts for that whole time. But from that moment on, I've worn underwear every day since. I should have switched schools, bro. Why do people on social media switch up so fast? Like, I remember one creator who literally committed crimes, and people started to hate on them, but then a week later, all the comments were back to just saying how much they love them. Like they are a felon! And all of a sudden you forgot about that? I swear no one in the comments ever thinks for themselves. They just agree with whatever everyone else is saying. That's probably why I still get comments telling me to oil up. It's the same thing. Please stop doing that, by the way. Oh, you think your hamster died in a crazy way? Wait till you hear about how mine died. I was playing with my hamster in the living room one day, and the fireplace happened to be on. And also, I have a dog, and this dog gets super jealous whenever I'm holding the hamster. So he's just staring at it. And my hamster loves to bite people, it's how he shows affection, I think. So he bit me really hard, and I accidentally dropped him for only 1 second. But in that second, this poor hamster was on the floor, and my dog saw him, so he started chasing after him, and the hamster ran into the fireplace. The poor little guy started screaming, and he was only in there for a second because I grabbed him out right when I saw what happened, but it was too late. He already passed away. And then when I got him out of the fireplace, I let him cool down on the floor for a second because he was too hot to touch, and my dog started licking him. It's not funny. It's not funny. Never tell your barber that you don't like their haircut, because one time I was at a barber shop and the barber literally sliced a dude's ear. His ear started bleeding. It looked like Mike Tyson did it. But because the guy was so scared to tell the barber that there was a problem, he just told him it was fine and to keep cutting his hair. And I know he was lying because I could literally see him trying to hold back tears during the rest of the haircut. But there was nothing you could have done to make that man tell the barber that he had a problem with the haircut. You just can't do it. I don't know why. You can never tell the barber you don't like their haircut. At think it might be illegal. Why do rich people get so defensive when you mention that they're rich? Like, I go to school with this kid that everyone knows is really wealthy, and sometimes people will make jokes about it, and his response is always like, I'm not even that rich. Like, bro, what are you doing? Because if I was rich and someone tried to make fun of me for it, saying, oh, look, there's the rich kid, I'd be like, heck yeah, I'm rich. I'm super rich. I would be flexing on him. Trust me, there's a lot of things that I'm insecure about, but being rich would not be one of them. How do people date their friend's sibling? Like, when I'm looking at any of my friend's sisters, I feel like I'm looking right at my friend. They have way too many similarities. And if you think your friend doesn't look like their sibling, just look at them when they laugh. I guarantee you'll see the resemblance. So basically, if you kiss your friend's sibling, you're practically kissing your homie. Well, some people like that, but not me. But you are literally attracted to your friend if you date their sibling. And if you say that's not true, you're in denial, buddy. Gen Z people should not be doctors, because I went to a Gen Z doctor and it was awful. I dislocated my knee and I couldn't walk, so I went to the hospital. And normally at this hospital, there's a bunch of old angry men that are doctors there, and they kind of seem like they hate me, but that's what I like, because I trust them. But this time, I go inside, they put me into a room, and this guy walks in that could be no older than like 25 years old, and he goes, what's up, doc? And at this point, I'm just thinking, okay, it must be bring your kid to work day or something. So I'm just like, what's up? But then he says, so I'm gonna be the one putting your knee back in place today. My heart sinks, because just by looking at this guy, I could tell that he used Quizlet to get through medical school, and my life is in his hands. But then it gets worse, because he asks me how I injured my knee, and I say, oh, I did it playing basketball, and he says, yeah, man, basketball can low-key be dangerous. Low-key? Dog, my doctor did not just say low-key. At this point, I just accepted that I'm probably never gonna walk again because this guy's my doctor, but I'm like, all right, whatever, let's just put my knee back in place. So he asks if I'm ready for him to do it, and I say yes, and he says, okay, on one, ready? 3, 2, and then he does it on 2. And I scream super loud because it hurt, but I instantly feel better. But you know what he does next? He daps me up. He was actually a pretty chill dude, but I cannot have a doctor that's my age again. But I'm just terrified of any doctor that's close to my age because I know they cheated in school. So I will never go to that hospital again. Sorry, doc. It's not you, it's me. Why does having a crush make you become a freak? Because one time I liked this girl and we would FaceTime, but every once in a while she would mute her mic. So I asked, why do you keep muting your mic? But she didn't want to tell me because she said it was embarrassing. But I kept asking her, so she said, fine, I'll tell you. Then she said, I mute my mic every time I have to fart. You know what my response was? I said, oh, don't mute your mic. I want to hear your farts. Bro, why would I say that? I didn't even mean it in a weird way. I just wanted her to be comfortable with me. But I couldn't explain that now. Like, did I actually want to hear her farts? Well, no, but it practically sounded like I was begging to hear them. I just know this is what I looked like to her. Please let me smell them. It's safe to say me and that girl did not work out. Do not take my comment section's advice on how to flirt with a girl. Because on another video, I asked the comments to give me advice on how to flirt, and one person said, make a private story with just the girl on it. So I did, and I was excited because I posted a story and I saw that she viewed it. But you know what happened next? She removed herself from it. I didn't even know you could do that. You guys are just trying to embarrass me. I trusted you. Why would you give me this advice? Why is the way women talk so catchy? Like the other day, I was hanging out with my friend and he farted super loud, and my response was, not you farting. And right as I said that, we both looked at each other like, what just came out of your mouth? Wait, pause. Like, I couldn't help it. It's just fun to talk like that. Like, there was an even worse situation where we were talking about sports and he was like, Lakers have no chance this year. And my response was, girl. I could tell he just wanted to smack me as hard as he could right there. And I wouldn't blame him, but I don't know how to stop talking like this. Please help me. Why is it so hard to understand when a girl is flirting with you? Because one time in school, we had to do a group project, but I didn't have a partner. So this girl came quickly up to me and asked if I wanted to be her partner. So I said, sure. And then she said, great, let's work at my house today. So I went to her house, and when she opened the door, she told me that she was home alone. So we were in the kitchen working on the project, and then she starts putting cherry lip gloss on, and she says, this lip gloss tastes so good. And I was like, oh really? And she's like, yeah, do you want to taste it? You would think it's obvious of what she's trying to do, right? Well, apparently not to me, because my response was, oh, no thanks. I'm not that big of a fan of cherries. But after I said that, she was a little bit quiet, and I didn't know why, because I genuinely thought she was just asking if I wanted to try her lip gloss on. But anyways, we keep working on the project, and then out of nowhere, randomly, she asked if I'm looking for a relationship. And I said, yeah, I would love to be in one. Then she says, me too. And I was so stupid that I responded with, damn, looks like we're both alone. And I laughed after saying this because I still didn't take the hint. But then like 20 minutes later, I leave and I don't think of this interaction ever again. Until the other day when I was at the store and I saw cherry lip gloss, and it made me think, why did she ask me if I wanted to try her lip gloss on when she knows I'm a dude? Obviously, I would never wear that because it's red. But then my heart sank and it hit me and I was like, she was flirting with me. And the worst part is that she was a beautiful girl. I just never thought she would want anything to do with me, so I didn't think anything of it. But yeah, it sucks because I'm still alone. Maybe I should hit her up. No, I couldn't do that. My brother used to always say that he thought I was autistic, and it kind of makes sense because when I was younger, I used to think that being lactose intolerant meant that you were scared of cows. So when my friend told me that he was lactose intolerant, I thought it would be a great idea to get a cow costume, show up at his house, ring his doorbell, and scare him dressed up as a cow. So that's what I did. I got the cow costume, I rang his doorbell, and he was crying. So I was like, oh my gosh, yes, it worked. I scared him. No. Because right behind him, his sister was also crying. So it turns out that he wasn't crying because I scared him with my costume. He was crying because their dog just passed away. I had to give my condolences to them dressed up as a damn filet mignon. But the worst part was that being lactose intolerant doesn't even mean that you're scared of cows. So do you know how stupid I looked when I tried to explain to them what I was doing? My brother may have just been right. May have.
কি হয়েছে বলতো? আর বলিস না, তোরে যে বুকিং দিছে সে তো এখন আমার পিছনে লাগছে।
দিশান আমার দরজা লাগিয়ে দিচ্ছে কই যায় কই যা
আমরা তো বিয়েই দিয়ে দিবে বাসা থেকে।
মাম্মা লাভ স্টোরি তো শুরু করে দিলা ভালো 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 মালটারে কি পড়ানো যায়
তুই একটা কাম কর, আজকে থেকে আমি তোমার, তুমি আমার, ব্যাস ডিসিশন ফাইনাল, বুকিং দিয়ে রাখলাম। ঠিক আছে? কি খবর তোমাদের, কেমন আছো তোমরা সবাই? ভালো তো না? তুমি জানো তোমায় কালকে একটা খবর বলছি।
হ্যালো, আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম।
কি রে হৃদয় রহিন মানা করতেছি কিছু মানে কিছু ভাবি আপনি জানেন আমি একবার অসুস্থ হয়ে গেছিলাম ও আমাকে রক্ত দেয়নি আর আজকে আপনাকে রক্ত দিয়ে চিঠি লিখছে
ফোন দিয়ে যেতেছি তুমি ফোনই ধরো না, তোমার ফোন ধরার কোনো নামই নাই, কোনো কথা, তোমার ফোন ধরো না কেন?
এবারে এক্সামের প্রিপারেশন কিরকম তোদের? আমি তো খুবই এক্সাইটেড কারণ আমার প্রিপারেশন খুবই ভালো।
দিশান দরজা খোল
সুন্দর মতো যাবি, ভাবির নামটা জিজ্ঞাসি। আর শোন, ভালো মতো কথা কবি, ভাবি লাগে। খালি ফাপড় আর চাপাবাজি, ফাপড় আর চাপাবাজি, এই বাদে আর কিছু পারছোস?
বুকিং?
বুকিং মানে বুকিং, তুমি আমার আমি তোমার, বুকিং দিয়ে দিছি ফাইনাল।
আমাকে বুকিং দিছে মানে আমাকে কে বুকিং দিছে দোস্ত? তোর যে আশিক আছে না, এখন তো ও আমার পিছনে লাগছে।
এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয়, আপনি শিখাই নাই তোরা? কেমন আছো তুমি?
ভালো।
আমাকে জিজ্ঞেস করবো না?
রক্তটা দিবি তুই আমি কেন রক্ত দেবো প্রেম খরচ তুই রক্ত আমার বন্ধু দিছেন আপনাকে অনেক ভালোবাসি ভাবি আপনার ওর রক্ত যাওয়াটা বিধে হতে দিবেন না ভাবি
তুমি পড়ো, ঘুমাও তাহলে। গুড নাইট আর বাই।
সহজে কোনো কিছু পাওয়ার মজা নাই, কিন্তু আমগো দোস্ত জিসান কি কম। ও ভাবি লাগে বেটা, লজ্জা লাগে না? কি ওর কথা বাদ দে, পারো তুই যা। জামুই তো।
তুই চুপ থাক।
আমি তো আপনাকে চিনি না।
চিনো না যে আজকে চিনলা, আরো চিনবা, আস্তে আস্তে চিনবা। আর শুনো,
আরে বেঞ্চাপ, নতুন নতুন সম্বন্ধ তো তাই চিনতে পারেন নাই। ওই যে আপনার বান্ধবী তুলি আছে না?
আমার তো তাহলে বিশাল বিপদ, আমি তাহলে কোচিং এ কেমনে যাব, পড়াশোনা কিভাবে করবো, আমার তো ভয় লাগতেছে।
কি খবর?
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর? 3 2 1। আর আজকে রাত 10টা, হ্যাঁ?
রক্ত জ্ঞান।
ইতিহাস লিখবো, ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস।
ভালো আছি, আপনি ভালো আছেন?
আমি তো ভালো আছি। তো তোমার বোন কোথায়?
আচ্ছা একটা মিনিট, আমি কল দিচ্ছি। এক রাতে ভালো হয়ে গেল, এটা আমার বিশ্বাস করতে হবে। দোস্ত আমার না ভয় লাগতেছে।
এই কি করবি? চেনা চেহারা না হলো কি চেহারা, কথা তো বেশি চেহারা ওরকম বেশি।
আপনি না শুই না না দেখা সব জানা ফেলছেন বাবা।